Sup guys, it's Alex here, and today we have our new Bracketology for December 11th after a crazy weekend of college basketball. As a Kentucky fan, that game against Seton Hall, I don't know, that gave me such false hope with Keldon Johnson making that half-court shot to force overtime, but then we couldn't make it work, and overtime ended up losing, and we're now down to a 6 seed, as you see there, from being a 1 seed in the preseason. I just don't know about this Kentucky team. As you can see, there is a ton of movement. Michigan, who I think they definitely deserve this. I think they have the best resume right now out of any team in the NCAA. They are now a 1 seed, taking the place of Gonzaga, who just lost to Tennessee. I think Tennessee's up to a 2 seed, as you can see right there. 1 seeds are still Kansas, Duke, and Virginia, and then Michigan's the new entry. Creighton's down to 11. I'm just kind of looking at some random ones. Purdue is having a disappointing season, just like Kentucky. They're down to a 6 seed. Florida State's down to a 4, I can see that. Indiana's up to a 5 after beating Louisville. And speaking of Louisville, they're up to a 10. They weren't even supposed to make the tournament this year, and man, they are already way ahead of schedule. They beat Michigan State, and they almost beat Indiana, Tennessee, and Marquette. They play Kentucky here in a couple of weeks, and I think that game could go either way. And just a quick look at the bubble. If your favorite team is on the bubble, last 4 byes: Texas, Louisville, Arizona, and Creighton. Last 4 in are UCLA, UCF, Minnesota, and San Francisco, getting in there with an at-large bid. Okay. First 4 out: LSU, Utah State, Washington, and West Virginia. And then the next 4 out are Clemson, Northwestern, Seton Hall, and Furman. Even though Furman is ranked in the top 25, Joe Lunardi doesn't think that they'll make the tournament as of right now. So, as you guys know, if you've been following me with the Bracketology, I go ahead and make this on Brackify.com. It'll be closing down on December 31st, so I know I've had a couple comments on my last Bracketology video of some site recommendations to keep doing this on. We won't be able to do it on Brackify starting in the new year, but for now we still can. I'll put the link for this bracket in the description, as I always do, for you guys to go ahead and vote. And without further ado, let's go ahead and give my predictions based off of Joe Lunardi's most recent Bracketology. So I can't say definitely because UMBC beat Virginia last year, but definitely. Kansas is beating the winner of Stephen F. Austin and Texas Southern, which I think would be Texas Southern. Dan Hurley, I think is his name, and Arizona State are going to move on against Butler. Nebraska's going to beat Davidson. I don't really know a whole lot about Nebraska this season. Kind of surprising to see them as a 5 seed. I don't know what that sound. That scared me right there, the ad or whatever. Whew. And then we got Florida State, Georgia State. Florida State's definitely going to win that. Purdue and Oregon. Oregon's got Bowl as an 11 seed. But I think it's going to be Carson Edwards and Purdue moving on there. North Carolina's going to be Old Dominion. Houston and Texas. I think Texas finds a way to get the victory over Houston there. Then Tennessee will beat Radford. Virginia's going to beat Lehigh. I think St. John's pulls off the minor upset here against Maryland. Most people who have voted so far, even though I created the bracket this morning, they've gone and picked Maryland, but I think it's going to be, who is it? St. John's moving on. And I think Mississippi State's going to beat Southern Illinois. Ohio State will beat New Mexico State. Creighton and Kentucky. I know this is going to be a popular upset pick just because Kentucky's not doing too well this season, but I got Kentucky moving on. Wisconsin's going to beat Vermont. Louisville is going to beat Kansas State, as everybody else is thinking right there. Kansas State's kind of been a disappointment this season too, watching them. Then Gonzaga's going to beat South Dakota State. Duke will beat Rider. Then Iowa and TCU. I got Iowa moving on. Don't know a whole lot about those 2 teams right now though. Romeo Langford and Indiana are going to move on there. Same with Villanova. Cincinnati and the winner of UCLA and San Francisco. I think UCLA is going to win that one, but I think Cincinnati is going to beat them. And Texas Tech will beat UC Irvine. Syracuse and Tyus Battle will beat Florida. It's kind of surprising Syracuse is down to a 7 seed too after having such high preseason expectations. Then Michigan State's going to beat Northern Kentucky. Michigan's going to beat the winner of Norfolk State and St. Francis, even though somebody voted for that first 4 game. Then Iowa State and NC State have no idea don't know anything about these 2 teams right now, but I figure I'll probably learn about them more once conference play starts up. I'm going to go with NC State moving on just for an upset pick. Buffalo and Wofford. I'm going to go with Wofford pulling off the upset here. They're a team that can scare anybody in March Madness. I know they beat North Carolina at North Carolina last year in the regular season. I'm going to go with them upsetting Buffalo. And then Virginia Tech's going to beat Yale. Oklahoma's going to beat the winner of Minnesota and UCF, which I think will be Minnesota. And Auburn's going to beat Northeastern. Marquette's going to beat Arizona. I don't know what's happened to Arizona, man. They're just not the same program that they have been these last 5 years or so. And then we got Nevada beating Montana. So 4th spot in the Sweet 16, we got Kansas beating Arizona State. Florida State, I think, will beat Nebraska. North Carolina will beat Carson Edwards and Purdue. Texas and Tennessee. Tennessee just proven, I can't tell it. They just prove that they can beat anybody in the nation. I'm going to go with Tennessee moving on there. Virginia and St. John's, I got Virginia winning that matchup. Mississippi State and Ohio State, I'm going to go with the minor upset here. I'm going to go with Mississippi State moving on. Same with Kentucky. This one's pretty even from the people who voted on Bracketify so far. I think Kentucky will find a way to turn it on in March Madness, and they'll avenge their loss back in like 2015 of the undefeated team when Frank Kaminsky and Wisconsin beat them in the Final Four. Then we have Louisville and Gonzaga. It's pretty obvious. I think Gonzaga is going to win that one. Duke and Iowa, I think Duke wins that matchup. I think Indiana actually pulls off the upset here against Villanova, as do most of the people who have voted so far. I think Indiana is going to be a really good team this year. Got Romeo Langford, and Villanova just hasn't been sticking out to me very much so far. Then Texas Tech will beat Cincinnati. This one's pretty close too. This is a rematch of what happened last year in the NCAA tournament. Syracuse and Michigan State. I got Michigan State moving on. Michigan will beat NC State. Virginia Tech's going to beat Wofford. Auburn's going to beat Oklahoma. And then Nevada and the Martin Twins, they're going to beat Marquette. Then for a spot in the Elite Eight, Kansas and Florida State. I think this could be a trap game for Kansas, but I think they'll be able to pull off victory here against Florida State. And Tennessee will beat North Carolina. Virginia will beat Mississippi State. And then as much as I want to put Kentucky moving on here, they have not shown any reason for them to be able to believe in them to beat Gonzaga. I got Gonzaga moving on. Duke and Indiana, they played earlier this year. I think Duke won by like 21 points or something like that. I got to go with Duke again. And Michigan State's going to beat Texas Tech. Michigan's going to beat Virginia Tech. And then I'm going to go with the slight upset here. I think Auburn beats Nevada. I know I have like all 1s and 2s basically in the Elite Eight right now. I'm going to switch it up a bit and go with Auburn. So, Kansas and Tennessee, I think it's going to be Tennessee moving on. Kansas, even though they're undefeated right now, they've played a ton of close games. A couple of them they probably should have lost. The Stanford one sticks out to me. But I think Tennessee's been a more consistent team. And I think they get the victory here to move on to the Final Four. And then, everybody's agreeing with me here. I think Gonzaga definitely beats Virginia. Duke and Michigan State. I think Duke and their heralded freshmen are going to win there against Michigan State. And then Michigan's going to beat Auburn to move into the Final Four. So we got Tennessee and Gonzaga, a rematch of the game that just happened. I say why not go with the most recent result from this past weekend? Why not put Tennessee in the national championship game beating Gonzaga to face off against the winner of Duke and Michigan? I said Michigan earlier has the best resume out of any team so far, but I think Duke's going to be the most talented. And then in the national championship game, Duke and Tennessee, 2 people have actually picked Tennessee to win it all. That kind of surprises me. But at this point, I just got to go with Duke. They just have too much potential. As much as I hate Duke with a passion, I think that they're the best team in the land and they're going to win the NCAA tournament this year unless some other team proves me wrong. So, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed it. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe. If you're new, I'll be doing this all throughout the college basketball season whenever Joe Lunardi releases his new updates and stuff like that. I'll have a video out for you guys. Let me know what you guys think about the Bracketology. Let me know what you guys think about the season so far in general. And I will see you all later. Thanks for watching.